Hey guys, it's me Arlessa again, and today I am coming at you with a video that I just kind of popped in to me. You know, I guess I've been going through some things. January was a really pivotal month for me personally, and so I kind of want to help guide or just talk about kind of what I processed and what I learned through that process that I just went through. And it's kind of crazy because I was sick probably 3 weeks out of January. I mean, this is, or the last 3 weeks. Like, it was just crazy. I was sick, and then I would get better, and I would go hang out with some people, and then I just got sick again. I mean, it was just like, I had a bacterial infection, and then I got allergies, and then I ended up getting strep throat. It was crazy. So, my body definitely forced me to sit still. Okay, but this was like 3 weeks straight. So working from home, dealing with what my body is serving me up, you know, it's like, hey, I'm not healed yet, and we're trying to, your body's not healed, and it's like, hey, I think I can go be Arlessa and, you know, hang out and do things, but my body's like, oh, I guess we have to tell you again, you're sick. Sit still, because there's some things that are coming up that you need to get out of here, which is pretty interesting how it happens, because I think collectively, as a whole, we're all going through something intense. Like, you know, I have some friends that have just been calling me or texting me, you know, sending me things. They're like, what is going on? Like, I have been through it. And I think Mercury retrograde always gives people like this idea that it only comes up in Mercury retrograde, but really, I've done a video before on this. Mercury retrograde comes up, all it does is pull it out. But the thing is when Mercury retrograde goes away, or Mercury goes back direct, it pulled a little bit of it more closer to the surface, so you can't push it down, keep pushing it down far, because eventually it's going to come up, right? So the last few weeks that I had, you know, this push to sit still and really think, it's kind of brutal, because you know, when you're not seeing anybody and you're not really talking to anybody and you're just in your own headspace, but your body's not feeling good, like everything just kind of comes up. And it's, you know, I think back to COVID 2020, when everybody had to be in their homes, and what that did to people's mental health, and so and their emotional health, and the different things that were going on in their life, right? Because that year, although the whole COVID thing is a big controversy between many people, right? We're awfully divided these days, it seems. But what it did do, and I like to see the positive out of everything, which I'll go into as something that I told somebody I would mention, but the positive out of that is that a lot of things came to an end. And I know that sounds like, how is that positive? Well, it's positive because the things that needed to come to an end, that maybe weren't for so long, or things that were being brushed under the rug, or things that weren't being seen, that time really gave people the opportunity to reflect and see it. Because everyday distractions, they do stuff to us to where we don't see it, right? And this comes into like our coping mechanisms, and healthy or toxic, you know, there's all kinds. And so when it comes to our mental and our emotional health, the way that we choose these ways to cope are extremely important. So I have so much to say. I think sometimes I rehearse these videos in great deal of length in my head for days, sometimes prepping for a video and the content. And this one was like, hey, just shoot from the hip. So I hope I don't go super long with this video. And I hope that I stay like flowing, you know, cohesively. But whenever we go through these bouts of whatever it is, if something is causing us to sit still in whatever form, if it's our body that's acting up, or going through something with our health that's causing us to like reflect on this stuff and we get in our emotions, or if it's going on with, say, our relationships, friendships, you know, different partnerships, like it could be anything in life. Maybe, you know, you're dealing with physical health issues, you know, maybe you're dealing with mental health issues, you know, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, okay? It's been overwhelming, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying, what's going on? And I guess this is where I skipped ahead of myself. I was saying Mercury. So Mercury retrograde pulls it out, but pulls it up a little closer and closer and closer and closer. And so right now, collectively, everybody is kind of going through whatever it is that they need to get through in order to reach the next step, right? It's being pulled out of them. It's being pulled out of you. It's being pulled out of me. It's being brought to the surface. And so I really want to go over some ways that you can not easily, that was probably the wrong word to use, that you can, I guess the word I'm looking for is you can have more awareness about ways when this awareness pops in that depression is coming in, or something from 10 years ago that was unsettled is coming in. Maybe you have spoke your truth to somebody to bring closure to a situation so that you can move on in your life. There's different things that happen that pop up at certain times in in different stages, right, for each of us. And so when this stuff comes up, I'm going to give you some tips on, maybe some guidance on how to move through it. Now, not easily, right, but move through it. Well, to move through it, you got to feel it and you got to go through it. And this is the hardest part. This is why people use distractions and unhealthy coping mechanisms. And I say unhealthy coping mechanisms because when it's healthy coping mechanisms, it's enabling us to make the changes and the transformation, and it's allowing us to be vulnerable so that we can transform and move through things. But when it's unhealthy coping mechanisms, right, it's distracting us. And, if we say somebody drinks a lot, or somebody does drugs or whatever, or sex, or whatever it is that's the coping mechanism for you, that's easy to distract you. But the thing is that when we're going through these euphoric ways of dealing with things, we are masking our natural sense of feeling what it is that we need to feel thoroughly in order to get through it. So, healthy ways and extremely challenging ways to do this is, one, you have to sit with the emotion. You have to allow it to, when it comes up and you want to push it down, you need to go somewhere safe, your home, your room, whatever space you've made. If it's sitting by a river, sitting by the beach, sitting by a mountain, wherever you are, then allow yourself to feel that totally and completely. You have to allow it to completely surface, cry it out. Whatever you do, it's initially probably going to come out like that. You have to feel it. You have to, and the reason why it's so hard for people to process these things is because when we start to let it come up, we start to feel it, then we start to feel what it felt like when it first happened, or when we first experienced something, or whatever is coming up for you the first time that you ever really experienced it that was horrible and made you want to shove it down and never experience again. Well, guess what? Because you shoved it down, you have to experience it again on an emotional level in order for you to release it, right? It has to go somewhere, right? So this is another, that's the two, find a coping mechanism, or I say coping mechanism, sorry, find an outlet to channel that energy into. So I'll use this as kind of analogy. You know how people, singer-songwriters, artists, they use that deep down core emotion and trauma and things, and they put that emotion together and they allow it to come out in beautiful, beautiful ways. Right? So find an outlet that you can channel what it is that you're feeling into something that's going to create something beautiful moving forward. Now, I'm not saying take a painting if you want to, yes, right? It could be anything. It could be anything that brings you joy, but also you're able to channel. If you need to start running, hey, I'm going to tell you, I always say it, and I've said it 100 times, so you all probably know, but I love baths. I love to take baths. Those are my thing. They're just, the water is super calming for me. So, I'm able to really, that's an outlet for me because of the joy I get and the relaxation I get, the connection I get just to myself being in that moment, for me. I can't really go into super, because I don't really know how to explain why it's so calming for me. Being on the water is the same. Water does something miraculous to me, especially when I'm in the middle of the ocean. Like, I can't even tell you, as long as I'm by water, my soul is really at ease, and that's an outlet for me. And that means, no, I probably can't go surfing, or no, I can't go on a boat right now, but what can I do? I can take a bath because I can always be in water, or I can go sit at the beach, or I can, create an outlet for me to be able to find that peace that brings me joy. And so for you, hey, find a healthy outlet. Don't find the unhealthy outlet, right? And everything has a healthy and an unhealthy side to it. Everything has polarity. Everything has, you can do something positive, or you can do the same thing but make it negative. You know, it's really your intent, but finding that outlet. Now also giving yourself the space to sit with yourself. And I think this is also the hardest, because people, when you're alone at the house, your mind goes, and when your mind goes, it goes to things that you need to think about and you need to release. But because of the feeling you get when it pops up, you're like, I don't want to be alone. So then you want to go find someone to hang out with, or go to a bar, or go do this, because your mind's going. But the thing is that you have to sit with yourself and let your mind go. You know, if you have somebody, this is also an outlet, having a friendship. I have a friendship that somebody I can go to, and we talk about everything, and we're able to understand each other. Actually, I have a couple friendships like that, you know, which is really, makes me really grateful in the moment right now that I'm thinking about, like, wow, I have some really amazing people that, you know, listen to me. But having somebody that you can trust and you can go to, where you can have that outlet if you need to just get it out, you know, hey, talk to your friend and be like, hey, or your husband or your wife, or, you know, whoever, and say, you know, have like a way, like, hey, I need to have a really, you know, tough conversation, you know, can you sit with me? Can you talk to me? Communication is your friend. Even though we want to withdraw when we're in those moments, sometimes we have to get it out, and friendships can be outlets as well. Our marriages, our, you know, relationships can be outlets, you know, unless it's something that we're involved with that's not allowing us to thrive, right, and is keeping us distracted in those negative ways. So that's a whole nother topic, I think, and I'm kind of rambling on a little bit, because I didn't really plan this. I just kind of jumped on, and I don't want to do 100 takes because I just don't. So also journaling, writing things down, getting them out of your head and onto something, you know, that's really good, because you're giving yourself, that's another outlet that you can use. Okay, so I did want to talk about one more thing that now that it popped up in my head, and I think you get the idea of what I mean by different outlets that you can do, right? Feel these emotions and find those outlets to channel those emotions to in a healthy way. So another thing, and that somebody had mentioned they wanted me to talk about, was how to shift your focus from negativity and focusing on everything that's negative into the more positive. So remember that the negative emotions are important. You must feel them in order to release them. But it is important that you do bring that positivity and you do start to make that shift. And the ways that we do this, or that I have found personally for me, this works for me, so I'm going to share it with you, is that having that awareness, that awareness that clicks in, that wow, I'm getting negative right now, or wow, I'm really focusing on something and I'm allowing this to really get to me. That awareness, when you first identify that, for one, give yourself credit, because that is one of the biggest steps that you will ever make in your transformation, in your healing journey, whatever journey you're on to better yourself. Self-awareness is your best friend. And when you get it, and when you start to get it often, and you're able to take these situations and be like, wow, okay, I see where I'm at, and I see why I'm here. How do I find the solution to process it and get through? That's big. So high five to anybody who is starting to do that, because give yourself credit where credit is due. That's the hardest, one of the hardest parts of it. But you know what? When you start having that self-awareness, give yourself credit and be like, you know what? That's big, because I'm shifting. You're literally shifting and transforming the way that you think. And that is huge, because it takes a long time to change the way that someone thinks and really sees things. They really have to experience it. That's huge. So give yourself credit, because I think it's yay self-awareness. Woo! Yes. Okay, so also that self-awareness comes in, and then it brings you to a moment. This is shifting from negative to positive. Brings you to a moment of, yes, this is going on in my life. This is horrible. You know, maybe everything seems to be going on that's wrong. And this is where that awareness comes in. There's always something that's going right in one area of your life, right? It's up to you to be self-aware and identify that and hang on to it. Once we start pointing out the good things in our life, and once we start being grateful for what we have in our life, right? And it may not be that much, or maybe it is a lot, right? It varies from person to person. But when you start to identify these positive and amazing things that are working for you in the face of all the things that are not working for you, then everything that's not working for you starts to get less and less and less, because you're focused on what you're grateful for, and you're focused on the positivity, and on the positivity of that feeling of being grateful for something. And the more that you're grateful for, the more comes to you to be grateful for. Does you understand? The more you get, it works out for you. And so it could be very, very bleak, but what do you have in your life? What's one thing? What's something you have in your life? And it doesn't have to be anything big, but what's one thing that's going on? Are you children? Are you married? Your parents? You know, some people don't have parents. Some people have lost their children. Some people can't have children. Like, there's always a scenario. There's always something you can be grateful for in your life, no matter how bleak it sounds. I'm telling you, man, I used to be that person where everything was just so dramatic and horrible. It never worked out for me. And you know what? For the longest time, it didn't work out for me, because for the longest time, I surrendered to that part. You know, I didn't understand my own power. Now, if only I could be friends with myself, then if I could tell myself, hey, you know what, man, my mom was right. You know, she used to tell me all the time, you know what, Arlessa, just believe it is and say it is and it will be. And she was telling me to change my mindset, and I just did not even get it. Man, if I could sit across from her right now and just tell her how right she was, and that it helps me. And it has helped me, and it's going to help you too. So I don't know, everybody has different types of mental health issues, or I don't want to say issues, mental health challenges, emotional health challenges, right? It's different. It varies from person to person. But if you can find that silver lining in your life and hold on to it, and you can allow yourself to feel what you need to feel, and you can allow yourself to find those positive outlets that help you thrive instead of bring you down. Because you know what, when we do things like the unhealthy things as coping mechanisms because we don't want to feel, you know, guilt, being ashamed of ourselves, different things set in, and that adds more and more stuff that you got to deal with, right? So stop shoving it down, allow it to come. And if it comes up out of nowhere, ask it, like, what does it teach me? What do I need to look at? What do I need to do? Don't be scared to face yourself. You're the only person that's with you from start to finish, right? Put all the love that you can into yourself. Put all the focus into understanding how you tick, why you tick, what you can do, how can you better yourself. When you think that way and you have that intention, that it's gonna happen. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying you can do it. I hope this video has helped. Like I said, I kind of walked into it just wanting to just shoot off the hip, so literally everything came out unplanned. But it's not easy, guys. I just went through some stuff, and a little hint about me, if you see me not posting my content and you see me not doing readings, then I'm birthing something. I'm going through something. I'm processing something. And right now, I think it's really good for me to get that focus. Oh yeah, another thing, give that focus. Don't hang out. Be able to sit with yourself and give yourself the rest that you need for your own mental and emotional health if you need it. You don't have to be busy all the time, and you don't have to be there for everybody all the time, okay? You need to be there for yourself, period. Okay, guys? And if you have people in your life that don't allow you to be that, find the ones that will, because that's going to be your tribe. Okay, guys, as always, my inbox is always open for anybody who wants to talk. You know, if you have any questions, you have any topics you want to hear about. Long video. We went almost 20 minutes, so I hope you stayed with me. I hope you stayed with me the whole time. Thanks for watching my videos, guys. Thanks for being so awesome. I hope everybody has a good weekend, and yeah.